connect the dots. You needed validation. Your father was not a criminal. Despite the fact that you were fully integrated and spoke 3 languages, some of you felt that you had to hide your Italian identity. A civilization that has contributed at least 40% to the world's patrimony had to be whitewashed to fit into the society of that time. This revealed how destructive it can be when you belong to a targeted group. A few of you made that long trip to Petawawa with your mother and to visit your father at the camp. And during those 30 minutes that they gave you, your father said, "Everything is good and I am well." And your mother said, "Everything is good and we are well." Those false tales are a valuable insight on how less selfless your parents were. They shielded each other from knowing the true crisis that truly existed. Sometimes I couldn't ask questions because tears were coming down your eyes, and that was hard. I could sense you wanted to talk, but neither of us knew where to begin. Your stories silenced me. Your lives shifted, and you were expected to act like nothing happened. You watched your mother's battles to survive, and then you told me how she never complained. A few of you, your fathers left some indication that they felt trapped by circumstances. They were never given due process, yet they taught you to have faith in democracy. What I didn't hear was fatalism. Instead, I heard stories of action. Rather than cry out, "We are victims," you buckled down and invented strategies of survival. I learned how in times of extreme crises, Italians have shown their best citizenship. Your families had to do the extraordinary just to get through the ordinary, and that's what makes you extraordinary. Some of you knew Salvatore Vistarchi. He owned a restaurant called Lanterna Verde. He kept notes on his arrest. "I'm going to retrace his footsteps. I'm going to take you for a walk." Monday, June 10, 1940. Overnight, Italy's relationship to Canada changes. The RCMP begin their roundup from Champ de Mars. They are working from lists that have been compiled well in advance from the Italian press in Canada and names supplied by paid informers with personal agendas. Many of those who were interneed were those the informants wanted interned. La Casa d'Italia is sequestered. Provincial police are stationed at the bridges. They search cars and buses for Italian-looking people. 10:30. Salvatore Vistarchi hears a knock on the door. He gets out of bed to answer it. The men identify themselves as RCMP and show him a court order for his arrest. While he's getting dressed, 2 officers search his house. Vistarchi is brought to the police station on Chantalon and Saint Laurent. He is searched. Papers, money, and cigarettes are taken away, and he's locked in a cell with other Italians. He figures he'll be released tomorrow. Tuesday, June 11th. It's 1 minute after midnight. The steel door of the cell opens. 2 policemen escort the men to a wagon that awaits them. They are confused, tired, and hungry. Salvatore thinks he's going home. On the contrary, they find themselves at the provincial police station on Notre Dame in Saint Laurent. Another search, another cell door opens. Vistarchi describes what he sees. There are over 100 Italians in here in a cell that could not contain over 40 people. The air is tremendously stuffy and suffocating. The toilet is in the same room and smells terrible. Everyone is looking pale and extremely worried. The men try to comfort each other. Detectives start calling names from a list considered to be the dangerous men. The group is locked in a dangerous cell. Vistarchi sees doctors, professors, artists, maestros, an inventor, a sculptor, men of law and science, entrepreneurs, tradesmen, laborers, businessmen, journalists, and writers. They form little groups and discuss the war. They conclude that they are arrested for something that is happening on another continent. There is nothing they can do except wait for justice. Wednesday, June 12, 1940, 10 a.m. The men are awake, nervous, and hungry, morally depressed. Notre Dame street is jammed with newspaper photographers flashing their lights. Motor cars are lined up. Onlookers want to see the enemy aliens. One prisoner is making signals to his girlfriend in the crowd. She tries to approach, but the police hold her back. Two buses await them. As they move away slowly, the police put on their sirens. It's a spectacle. Aboard each bus is one corporal and two soldiers, one of which has his right hand on his gun. The men smile because there is no need for such a gesture. They are held in Saint-Jean Military Academy. After 15 days, half are taken to Pillarella and the other half are sent to Bordeaux jail. Vice Consul Dr. Vittorio Ristaldi was one of them. He describes the conditions of the prison. We are separated and thrown into cells like common criminals. The moral torture is undescribable. We are deprived of communication and primary necessities. One of the doctors, who is usually a very quiet man, yells all night, banging his fists.